Back 35 plus years, there was no women's centres at that time. And not only, there's a big women's movement now, not just women's centres, and it's huge.
We're lobbying for the rights of women right across this whole country. Affordable childcare, the right to choose, marriage equality, welfare reform, and a living wage.
My time has come now. I've reared my kids. Now it's time for me.
Women are tougher now because they have to be.
But see girls now, they've no self-respect. They allow themselves to be used by men.
Well, that's changed in the last 30 years.
An awful lot of girls in their 20s and 30s nowadays have changed their perspective. They can have a sexual life and sleep with whoever they want, when they want.
There are women that go out on a Friday night for the sole purpose of finding a fella or a woman, whatever. They don't want to have a relationship, they just want to have a good night.
I felt embarrassed if an advert for Tampax came on the TV and my dad was sitting there. And could you imagine him going to buy them? Although men do now.
There are now ads for erectile dysfunction on TV.
Exactly. And Durex.
KY jelly, or that spray stuff.
What? What's that for?
It changes a flump to a curly whirly.
I have a 17-year-old granddaughter, and she's got herself a boyfriend, and I asked my daughter, have you told her about the birds and the bees? And she goes, Mum, she could have told me about the birds and the bees.
I think knowledge is power. If you know you can make a decision, you can decide to go out on a Friday night and shag all around you, or decide not to.
Well, when's the next Friday night you're going out?
I wouldn't know what to do.
I'd rather have a Chinese takeaway, it lasts longer.
I think overall now women have more power. They won't put up with any kind of abuse.
You look at the way your mother was treated and you say to yourself, I'm not going there, and you stand your ground.
Each generation of women want to improve the life for the next generation.
My mum, when she was 14, was very smart, but her mum put us straight into stitching, saying if it was good enough for me, it was good enough for you.
My mum always said, educate a woman and you educate a family.
We are family. I got all my sisters with me.
You always want better for your kids than what you had.
There's more opportunities now.
There's ones that have degrees and masters applying for jobs in Asda and Tesco's. What's the chance of the ones that don't have degrees of getting a job?
More women stand up for themselves today.
I think society expects us all to have children, but more women now say, do you know what, I don't want kids. So they don't have them for anybody else, and why should they?
We've come a long way from keeping bellies filled and our aprons on, but I felt safer then than I do now walking the street.
During the Troubles, you could walk home alone.
Nobody would have taxi.
You couldn't do it now, it's too dodgy.
Now you go up the street and everybody has their doors locked.
And you're not allowed to sit in their living room because of that house crowd.
See, today if I was attacked in the street, I would just get left lying there.
Back then it was different.
See, once the ceasefire came along, well, the drug problem just exploded.
It's not so community orientated these days. It's each person for themselves.
Communities have been split up.
It's a different mindset now.
There's big problems with alcohol. I know drugs are now, but years ago all we had was drink.
Yeah, there's a normality about taking drugs now.
There's more deaths through alcohol and prescription drugs.
When my husband died, it was tablets, tablets, tablets. And then it was, we'll just get you another wee packet of tablets.
Or just up the dose.
We haven't even touched on the amount of mental health problems there are. The government needs to put something in place now.
I think we're all deeply disturbed.
You can still remember it all. Just put it at the back of your mind because it was part of the Troubles. It was the stuff you've seen every day.
There was too much going on, just too many bad things going on all around.
But if you look at the amount of people on antidepressants now.
I'm on antidepressants.
Our whole family's on them. My mummy was on antidepressants, my brother, my sister, her daughter, my daughter. I've been on antidepressants 30 years and nobody has ever questioned why am I still on them.
I got my prescription last week for diazepam. 5 tablets to give me miserable gets. Like, what if I can't get to sleep for a couple of nights?
I moved up here when the Troubles were over, and people were still telling me not to go into different areas. And I was like, why not go into different communities? And they looked at me like, what planet are you on?
I think it would have been completely different for us if it hadn't been for the Troubles. We'd be more confident and more grounded in ourselves.
The kids have no fear now. We had fear.
What makes us strong? Everything that everybody's been through, and in their own life and their own troubles, that's what makes us strong.
It makes you harder as well, I think, and sometimes that's not a good thing.
But you have to now, so it's in you.
I'm 57. I'm an oldie now, right? When I was a wee girl, everybody bothered, no matter what age you were. But now I'm a golden oldie. I'm an outsider. Nobody wants to know me. I'm the wee woman that walks down the street and goes to mass.
The young ones don't want to know. It's big houses, cars, money, money, money. Their money on the brain, that's all they want now.
But people now have a fear of actually helping other people.
And people are afraid to help each other in case they're sued.
The kids just don't have any respect.
And some kids, once they get a bad name, youth groups and youth clubs don't want to have anything to do with them.
They're not given opportunities.
They're not given the right opportunities.
Well, we had no opportunities growing up.
They need somebody to show them the way.
They don't see what's going on around them.
It's the nastiness of them.
It's the way they're brought up, some of them.
I think most of the kids are doing great. They're in their education. I think they need more support.
There is, but there's transgenerational issues too. Trauma. You know, from the past that's been brought forward to now. They see how their families react to the Troubles, and that's been passed down to the other children.
I think that's why the suicide rate is so high now. We never had that growing up either. Even though we were brought up in a war zone, there's very little suicide.
Could be coming from us. We could be passing that on. We don't know what goes on in the womb.
What's a child supposed to do if they have no one to turn to? Because if something happens to you as a child, trust is destroyed.
I moved back to Belfast 8 years ago. My son's gay, and when he moved over here, he was allowed to be himself. He doesn't go back home now because people still don't accept him.
I came out 20 years ago, so you can imagine what it was like 20 years ago. I remember our first Gay Pride March in 1991. Me and Miss Hamill, there was only about 150 of us. Sinn Féin lent us a bus.
The good thing about the present is all the stuff coming out about abuse.
And thank God it is.
In the past, there was no women's rights. There was nowhere for women to go.
No benefits, nothing, but they can walk away now. They can go to Women's Aid and get help. They can go to appealers.
But you know what I noticed about lockdown? The same community come out. They all started sitting in their gardens, playing bingo and everything. You know, they even started bothering with each other again.
The lockdown brought communities together, and the communities all got involved, and the kids got more involved.
I'm an outsider, and I'm here nearly 20 years, and it struck me that how close the people are, like how close. My partner's brother lives right next door, and his sister lives 4 streets away.
Yes, families all around us.
We're very community orientated down where I live. If something happens, we all pull together.
Somebody passes away, you get everybody coming together.
Oh, it was important. It still is. I love having my family all around me. I moved away for about 6 months. I couldn't stand it. I had to come home.
I think we've high expectations of community too.
Greater North Belfast Women's Network started working in the food banks and delivering food. The difference now is, in the past, people from the Falls helped the Falls. People from the Shankill helped the Shankill. With COVID, it didn't matter.
I knew people that were helping in Ardoyne that weren't from Ardoyne.
We found new ways of making a community.
We all come back.